Hey everyone and welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something that's super critical to our digital lives, but you probably don't even think about it most of the time. We're talking about software testing. Let's jump right in.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say the answer is a resounding yes. We've all been there, right? You're in the middle of doing something important or just playing a game and boom, the app just closes. Or it freezes or gives you some totally weird result. And that moment of frustration, that right there is exactly what software testing is all about fixing.
So, here's what we've got on tap. First, we'll dig into why things go wrong in the first place. Then, we'll get a clear definition of what software testing actually is. After that, we'll look at how it fits into the whole development process. And finally, we're going to bust some common myths about the people who do this incredibly important work.
All right, so those super annoying crashes and weird errors, in the tech world, we call them bugs, and they have a real cost. Believe it or not, it's not just about ruining your day. The impact is actually much, much bigger. And this right here is the absolute key. Think about it. Catching a tiny issue while the software is still being built, that's a relatively easy, quick fix. But finding that same problem after it's been shipped to millions of people, whoa. Now you're talking about huge financial losses, serious damage to a company's reputation, and losing the trust of your users. Testing is basically the goalie. I love this analogy because it just hits the nail on the head. I mean, you would never get into a car without knowing the brakes work, would you? Of course not. So why on earth would we trust software with our money, our messages, or our health without being sure it's not going to fail? We shouldn't, and that's precisely why we test.
Okay, so we've established the problem. Now let's talk about the hero of our story. What is software testing really?
Okay, so there's the official definition. But let's break that down. It's not just about clicking around randomly. It's a really methodical process to answer two big questions. First, does this thing do what we said it would do? And second, does it do anything it's not supposed to do, like, completely fall apart? And when you do this right, the payoff is huge. When software just works, users are happy, and happy users don't go looking for your competitor's app. And like we said, it stops those super expensive, super embarrassing meltdowns from happening once the software is out in the real world.
All right, let's peel back another layer here. You've probably heard these two terms thrown around: QA, or quality assurance, and QC, or quality control. A lot of people use them like they mean the same thing, but they're actually two different sides of the same very important coin.
Okay, so what's the real difference? Think of QA, quality assurance, as being proactive. It's all about the process. It's like designing the safety checklist for the car factory to prevent mistakes before they even happen. On the other hand, quality control, QC, is reactive. It's product-focused. This is the person at the end of the line checking the final car to find any scratches or faults that slip through. You can't have one without the other if you want to build something great.
A lot of people think testing is just this thing you do right at the very end, like a final check before you launch. But that's not how it works anymore, not at all. In the modern world, testing is woven into the entire process from day one.
This table really shows you what I'm talking about. On the left, you've got the classic steps for building software. And on the right, you have the testing lifecycle. The key thing to see here is that they run in parallel. They're intertwined. For every single step on the development side, there's a matching activity on the testing side. So while the developers are just starting to plan, the testers are already thinking about how to break it. It's a beautiful dance.
Here's another great way to think about it. When you build a house, you don't wait until the drywall is up and painted to check the plumbing, right? That would be a disaster. You check the pipes as they're installed. You check the wiring before the walls are closed. Testing is exactly that. It's the constant checking and double-checking to make sure the foundation is solid before you build the rest of the house on top of it. So, who are these unsung heroes doing all this work? Let's dive into what a modern tester really does, and you know what? Let's bust some major myths along the way. Okay, let's tackle these myths head-on. First up, the idea that testing is just mindless clicking. Nope, good testing is like being a detective. It takes logic, creativity, and a systematic approach to uncover hidden clues. Then there's the idea that only developers matter. So wrong. Testers are the guardians of quality. They're just as critical. And this last one is huge. Oh, automation will just replace all the testers. Not happening. Automation is just a tool, a really powerful one, but it's the human tester who's the brains of the operation, deciding what to test and making sense of the results. So, what does a day in the life kind of look like? Well, it follows this core loop.
It all kicks off with really, truly understanding what the software is supposed to do. Then they write out super detailed plans or test cases. After that, they run the tests. If they find something broken, they have to report that bug so clearly that a developer can understand and fix it. And finally, they collaborate with everyone to make the product better. It's a non-stop cycle.
All right, enough of me talking. Now it's your turn. I want you to try this. For the next minute, put on your official tester hat. Let's think like a tester.
Okay, let's take a simple ATM. A tester doesn't just put in the right pin and say, "Yep, works." No. They're asking all the weird questions. What happens if I put the wrong pin in 3 times? What if the card is expired? What if I ask for more money than the machine has? Or at Calculator app, what happens if you try to divide by 0? See? That's the mindset. It's all about pushing the boundaries and thinking about every single what if.
And really, that brings us to the most important point of all. At the end of the day, a great tester isn't just a bug hunter. They are the ultimate advocate for you, the user. Their job is to protect your experience, to make sure the things you rely on are safe, reliable, and maybe even a little delightful to use.
So, I'm going to leave you with a little homework. Think about the apps and websites you've used this past week. What's one glitch, one weird little bug that you ran into? Because from now on, when you see something like that, you won't just be annoyed. You'll see the ghost of a bug that slipped through. And you'll appreciate just how much invisible work goes into making things run smoothly.